Hi, sorry about that. Just fixing some settings. Hi, everybody. My name is Godwin Alfonso. I'm here to welcome our speaker of the day. Many of you may not personally know her because she's one of those, how can we call them, like a hidden gem, you know? She is extremely careful, thoughtful, kind, considerate when it comes to prayers, when it comes to even talking, and even when it comes to communicating. She is an extremely successful businesswoman. She's a professional makeup artist, a compassionate healer, and exceptionally talented in many areas of her life. She is so modest that when you meet her, you wouldn't even know that she has so many talents, so many feathers on her hat, and extremely, extremely humble. You may not even know she's there, but she's always there to illumine the paths of the ones who seek. She has immensely amazing level of understanding, great wisdom, and always willing to share. She's also one of those persons, if she takes up something to do, she will ensure that it gets done. So she's a good combination of light, love, and power. Today, to speak on the topic of power of thoughts, we welcome Apurvashree Kanoria.
Thank you so much, Godwin. Thank you for your generosity. I'm almost embarrassed. But thank you. Thank you so much, Surbhi, Godwin. Thank you for this opportunity, for bringing us all together and giving us this platform where so many of us can meditate together for 21 days, especially in honor of our beloved Guru, Grandmaster Choa Kok Sui. Today's topic is the power of thoughts. And before we go on to understand that what can power of thoughts, how can power of thoughts impact our life, let's first very briefly understand that what are the few ways in which we can increase the power in our thoughts. I'll just go through it very, very quickly. The first way is by increasing the amount of energy in the thought. And how do we do that? The quality and the quantity of energy in our chakras and in our aura determines the kind of energy that goes into our thoughts. Now that we are doing twin heart meditation regularly, you can expect your thoughts to become more powerful than they were before. Second way to increase the power in your thoughts is to have clarity in your thoughts. So clear thoughts are more powerful than confused or vague thoughts. Number 3, when thoughts are repeated over and over again, as in repetitive thoughts, are more powerful than just passing thoughts. So if you repeat a thought again and again, and if there is sufficient karma for it to materialize, that thought tends to materialize. So we have to be very careful, and that's also good news. Number 4, thoughts created by groups, like if a group of people create a similar thought or the same thought, it is more powerful in most cases than individual thoughts. So now that we have discussed some of the ways in which we can add power to our thoughts, let us understand the impact of powerful thoughts. As our thoughts become more and more powerful, our scope of influence increases. What does this mean? It means that our thoughts are now capable of influencing more number of people. Not just more number of people, but if we speak to individuals, our thought will affect them more strongly. It can convince them, it can influence them, it can impact their lives more strongly than before. So now when we know that our thoughts are capable of influencing more people and people more strongly, there comes a strong responsibility along with this power. With great power comes great responsibility. And therefore we'll go through few of the thoughts that we unknowingly create, and that can be hazardous, not just for others, but for our own well-being. So first thought that we should refrain from creating, which we often create, are negative thoughts directed towards individuals. Now, let us understand this because it makes it very simple to understand with the help of an example. If somebody is lazy, if you know somebody who's lazy, and if you constantly create thoughts about him that, oh my God, this guy is so lazy, he will never succeed. And you repeat it. Oh God, he's so lazy. He will never succeed. Oh God, he's never going to succeed because he's so lazy. If you repeat this over and over again in your head and in your words, what happens is that you send the energy, this negative energy of pessimism into his aura. So firstly, your aura gets contaminated because you're creating negative thoughts towards somebody. And then this energy goes and accumulates in the aura of this individual towards whom you're directing these thoughts. And these thoughts become like an obstacle in his aura, which prevent him from growing. So even if this person is trying to overcome his weakness of laziness, your thoughts will slow down his process. Your thoughts will slow down his growth, will stunt his evolution, and that is mental injuriousness. This person will have to work harder to overcome his weakness, and sometimes, if the person is not that strong, he may not be able to overcome his weakness. And that brings in tremendous bad karma for us because what we did is we are inhibiting somebody's growth because of the power in our thoughts. So that comes under mental injuriousness, that brings us bad karma, and that should be avoided. Another example of a similar situation is that if suppose we are facing a difficult situation with somebody in our lives, for instance, our boss or our partner, and if they have been very angry lately and they are being unfair to you, most of us are from the forgiveness club, and the practice of forgiveness is not new to you. So we sit down and, at least a couple of times each one of us would have done it in our lives. We try to forgive the person. And what we do when we are trying to forgive this person, we dedicate 10 or 20 minutes. We sit down and we send these positive thoughts towards this person. May the Supreme God, uh, you know, neutralize negative karma. May the Supreme God forgive him. May he be blessed with whatever is best for him. We are all children of God. And all these are tremendously positive thought forms. And it's a fantastic idea to do that. But what is also important is what we do after that forgiveness practice ends. After we say cut the link, we get up, we go on and do our daily work and get busy with our daily activities. It is very important that what do we do after we have done this forgiveness practice. If we go back to our daily routine and start criticizing this person over and over again for the next 10 hours with critical thoughts, repeatedly over the next few days or many days, then what happens is that your negative thoughts that you're directing towards this person is going to make this person worse, or it is going to make this tendency in this person worse. That person will become more angry. That person will become more unfair, and who will suffer? Your guess is as good as mine. Because if it's a boss, then best of luck. It's going to be you who suffers because he's going to become angrier. And you know what's worse? That we are responsible for increasing the anger in him. So, we get bad karma for it, and we also have to suffer for it because this person has become worse thanks to our critical thoughts. So, along with the forgiveness practice, we also have to make sure that we reduce the number of critical thoughts we are creating about a certain person. It is difficult or almost impossible not to have critical thoughts at all, but we should make an honest attempt not to repeat this over and over again for our own good, if not for the other person. The second category of thoughts, that negative thoughts that we all create and that we should refrain from creating, is negative thoughts directed towards a larger community. Thoughts of hatred, thoughts of violence, thoughts of revenge, complaining thoughts. Now, when I'm saying this, the first time I heard these words, I was like, I don't hate anybody. Most of us are like that. We don't actively hate anybody, or so we think. We are not actively violent in our imaginations. Most of us are not. But we do not realize that most of us have hidden negative biases directed towards either a particular religion, a particular community, or maybe a particular country. Like, we have these preconceived negative notions that if this person belongs to this religion, he will be like this. If this person belongs to this community, we stereotype him and we say that, okay, he will have these weaknesses. Similarly, most of us are from India here, and we have a favorite target when it comes to countries. And we say that they deserve it. They deserve our hatred. But that's not true. Most of the people in that country are just like us. They want peace. It is just the doing of a few people that this lack of peace happens between the countries. So all these thought forms, these negative thought forms that are directed towards these larger communities, they are actually negative biases. Some of these we have inherited from the people around us, or from listening to news or reading about it, reading history. And we can't completely blame ourselves, but we can change it. We are not helpless. Like, when we realize it, we have to increase our awareness, catch ourselves, and try to reform our thoughts. Because when we create these negative thoughts, what happens is that we have powerful thoughts, remember? And when we create these powerful negative thoughts directed towards a community, this thought wave spreads, and the people around us, especially the coming generation and the people in our vicinity, they get affected by it. They also start thinking in a similar manner, and they also start generating these negative thoughts for no fault of theirs towards a particular gender, towards a particular community. Like, men are like this, women are like that, those kind of things. And this gets passed on from generation to generation. So we need to break this by creating awareness, by avoiding creating or adding to the negativity which is directed towards a particular community. Again, if we complain, imagine we go to an event, and instead of focusing on how well the event is organized, how hard they have worked on organizing that event, how grateful we are for the teachings that we are getting in that event, if we start focusing on what is wrong in the event. For instance, some people constantly judge the temperature. They will constantly be craving about the menu served at the event, that how they could have had 3 vegetables instead of 2 vegetables, or they could have reduced one choice of rice, or whatever. It's all right to mention it once, but if you constantly keep cribbing about these small things sitting in an event for which so many people have put in hard work, the people around you, you're distracting them, and they also start getting into the complaining mode because of the power of your thoughts. And that bad karma, at least a part of it, comes to you or comes to us, and we can easily avoid it. The third category of bad negative thoughts that we should refrain from creating, which is again a blind spot in many of our lives, we don't realize it when we are creating it, is forming opinions and gossiping. So what are unnecessary opinion formations? Like, we are traveling on the aeroplane, we hear 2 people discussing their business, we know nothing about that business, but our mind is still creating opinions that, oh, he's investing so much money in this idea, his money is going to sink. We don't know nothing about the person, his expertise, his business, and yet we are creating that opinion. It's like an autopilot mode, like the creation of opinion. And we should be very careful. There should be economy in creating opinions. When it is not required, when it is not our expert domain, we should avoid creating opinions, because that has a repercussion on the other person and on us. A perfect example is the Ambani wedding. I mean, he's a businessman, he has legitimate money, it's his son, they are organizing a wedding, there is nothing illegal about it. And yet, almost the entire nation, including me, including most of us, we created so many opinions about their wedding. Not just opinions, negative ones, like really negative ones. That why are they spending this kind of money? What is the need for it? Why this jewelry? Why this clothes? Why invite this one, that one? When will this wedding end? And all kinds of things. There's no harm. We think it is harmless, but it's actually not harmless. Because when we create these critical thoughts about somebody else's life, that we don't even know these people, and it's not even affecting our lives, then the energy in our aura is affected, is negatively affected. And also this energy that we are sending to them is totally uncalled for, because they will also be affected by this energy. Similarly, when we hear about a celebrity couple going through some, discord in their relationship, some rumor of some problem in somebody's relationship who's a celebrity, and our minds start second guessing. Oh, this one must have cheated. Maybe it is about money. Fame has got into this person's head. And we are already judging these 2 people. We are already trying to understand without even knowing them, knowing nothing about their lives. We start creating these opinions and judgments about people. And it's totally uncalled for. Even if we don't go and speak to them ever, the fact that we are creating these thoughts about them affects them. They're already going through a very tough time. They don't need us to create these negative thoughts towards them and disrupt their life further. You know what Master Choa Koksui used to say? Master said that what we eat, if we eat unwholesome or junk food, it dirties our body. But what comes out of our mouth and what comes out of our head, that is our thoughts and our words, can dirty our soul. And that's a serious problem. And that is why even when we are gossiping about film stars or creating unnecessary opinions about other people's life, even if we think it is harmless, it's actually not harmless. In fact, Master Choa Koksui even warned us to protect ourselves from it. He said that when a project is in its nascent stage, do not discuss the idea with too many people. He said their thoughts about your project can ruin it. So he's asking us to be careful with our projects, with our lives, so that the other people's thoughts should not ruin our project. So if we don't want this to be done to us, if we don't want others' thoughts, negative thoughts, opinions to interfere mentally with our relationship, our business, our success, our life, then we should not do that to others. Remember Lina ma'am's talk on the golden rule: what we don't want for ourselves, we should not do for others. There is a line in Indian scriptures, it says that अपने दान को, अपने धन को और अपनी स्त्री को गुप्त रखना चाहिए. What does it mean? It doesn't mean that don't tell anybody who your wife is. That's not what it means. It means is that your donation, your prosperity, and your relationship details, do not flaunt it too much. It's all right to enjoy your life. It's all right to display a little bit of affection sometimes, but do not flaunt it too much, because that's what the scriptures say. Because people will judge you. People will send you thought forms. People will send you negative or positive thoughts, and both of which can interfere with your life, with your relationship, with your business, your prosperity, and, sometimes even with your devotion. So inspire people, but try to maintain, be understated, be graceful. Don't try to rub your prosperity or rub your beautiful relationship too much in front of others, because a lot of people are not happy to see you happy, So just protect yourself from these emotions, maintaining a medium profile, if not a low profile. Now, we have discussed some of the things that we need to be careful about when it comes to our thoughts. Let us very, very quickly understand that by increasing the power in our thoughts, what opportunity it presents for us to generate good karma. It's just the opposite. When we create good karma about an individual, when your friends, your family members, your acquaintances, even a perfect stranger, if he or she comes to you, and if you think this person is in a bad state, lift them up with your confidence in them. Give them inspiring words, give them courage, give them strength in their low period. Tell them they will be able to come out of this situation. This situation is temporary. Become other people's cheerleaders. Appreciate others. Be grateful for the things that you have, Spread unity between gender, unity between religions. Instead of focusing on separativeness, focus on humanity. What are the things that we need to conquer as humanity, as one? If you see an ambulance, just send blessings. Blessings are positive thoughts that you can send constantly. Create positive thoughts of healing, of protection, of strength, of courage. Every time you see an ambulance, send them to the patient, send them to the family members. When you see a war happening, take a few seconds, create this positive thought form of peace in that area, project it to the world. So when you start doing these things, you automatically start creating a lot of good karma. Let us now bring in twin heart meditation with the perspective of thought forms. So now twin heart meditation uses a prayer, and this prayer was written by a great saint, Saint Francis of Assisi. So when a great saint writes words or writes a prayer, imagine the quality and quantity of energy in those words. Now, in twin heart meditation, this prayer written by Saint Francis of Assisi is verbally pronounced by Master Choa Koksui, who's another extremely evolved saint. Imagine the energy now. And twin heart meditation is a meditation that people have been doing repeatedly for the last many years, if not decades. And we are doing it here together for 21 days. So it's a repeated chain of positive thought forms. And we are doing it in a group of so many, of hundreds of people. So imagine the power in the thoughts that are there into this twin heart meditation. And just by the virtue of doing this twin heart meditation every day in a big group, how much good karma are we actually creating? You know, Master DK actually said that disintegrating negative thoughts and creating positive thoughts is one of the four main roles played by world servers. So just by creating these positive thoughts, we actually become small world servers. Isn't that fantastic? And I will go back to the first lecture that Vijay sir took. And he said this, that what we meditate on, we become. And in Twin Heart meditation, we are meditating on so many positive thoughts, so many blessings every day. And when we do that over and over again, we become that. It becomes our second nature. We don't even have to think when people come to us for help. We automatically send them blessings. Our mind automatically starts creating these positive thought forms for them because we are meditating on these positive thought forms continuously for so many days. So it becomes a reflex to create these positive thought forms. Imagine creating positive thought forms and earning good karma as a part of your reflex. Isn't it fantastic? I mean, I'm not trying to suggest that we stop creating negative thoughts because we are meditating, but those thoughts are reduced and the positive ones are increased exponentially. And that's the power of the meditation. With this positive thought, I think I'll end today's discussion. And once more, I would like to thank the entire team of the Forgiveness Club and all of you for being such a fantastic audience. Thank you.
Thank you, Purvashri. That was an enlightening talk and could expect nothing less from you because I've heard you personally speak on many occasions, on many topics. So thank you so much for taking out the time, for sharing your understanding to help people understand as well how their thoughts can impact them and others around them. If anybody has any questions, you may choose to raise your hand and we will unmute you. And Purvashri, if you have some time, you can take some questions if there are. Are you okay with that?
Yeah, I think we could take a couple of questions. Then we can end the meeting because I can see a lot of you are already quite sleepy. It's that hour in the night, you know.
Yes, all right. So I think you secretly blessed them to go to sleep. So, oh, we have one hand up. So, yes.
Yes, Kadambari, do you want me to unmute you?
Yes, Atma Namaste, ma'am.
Atma Namaste.
While doing twin heart meditation, continuously disturbing thoughts coming into my mind. Then how to tackle it?
Kadambari ji, there is no problem. If disturbing thoughts are coming in your mind, that is very natural. You know, what is the fantastic thing is that this meditation, unlike many other meditations, is a guided meditation. So
Okay.
when we are doing the first part of the meditation for the first 15-16 minutes, Master is actually guiding us to think positively. So even if negative thoughts are coming to our mind, if we just concentrate on what Master is saying and we keep blessing, automatically our thoughts and our energy will shift. And it is not necessary that every day you will have a good meditation. It is not necessary that every day you will have a blissful meditation. Some days you will have a very good meditation. Some days your thoughts will bother you. And some days you will experience relatively very few thoughts, you know. So a few people I heard were asking in a few sessions about the silent spirit, you know. And I would
Yes.
like to answer that question. So, you know, what happens in the first 15 minutes is we are actually reducing, we are flushing our aura. Like when we are blessing the earth again and again, we are shifting our mind to positive thoughts. And we are trying to, you know, keep away all the stress and all the thoughts that are bothering us, the negative thoughts, that of anger and all that, because Master is guiding us to think positive. There is a step which comes in the middle of the meditation when Master asks us to focus simultaneously on the crown and the heart, and then bless the earth. That is the point. Tremendous energy passes through our entire system, and it flushes out to a large extent the negative thoughts in our aura. And then after that, he does Om chanting, and he asks us to focus on the gap between the Om. Now, when Master is chanting Om, he chants verbally, he asks us to chant mentally. So when we chant verbally, it has a different effect on our body. When we chant mentally, it has a different effect on our system. I will not get into the detail of what is the difference, but when we chant mentally, it actually raises our vibration, So when Master is chanting Om, he is actually raising our vibration, when we chant Om mentally with him, in this period, our vibration rising, like climbing upstairs, So when we are chanting that Om and focusing on the gap between the two Oms, we are actually raising our vibration. We are climbing those stairs. And when he stops for those 3 minutes and he says, let go, that is the time when you enjoy that elevated vibration. So you reach, आप सीढ़ी चढ़ के कहीं पहुंचे, और वो 3 मिनट में आप जहां पहुंचे हैं, आप उसको महसूस करेंगे. सो उस समय आपको कुछ भी सोचना नहीं है, ना ओम, ना पॉजिटिव थॉट्स, ना नेगेटिव थॉट्स, आपको सिर्फ एक्सपीरियंस करना है. इस वक्त आपको किसी सोल्यूशन के पीछे नहीं भागना है. यू अलाउ द सोल्यूशन टू कम टू यू. एंड इफ थॉट्स कम टू योर माइंड, वेदर दे आर गुड और बैड, लाइक एन ऑब्जर्वर ऑन द विंडो, जो विंडो पे खड़े होकर हम गाड़ियों को पास होते हुए देखते हैं, we just have to see your thoughts come and pass you by. Just don't chase them. That is the only thing you don't do. आप उसके पीछे मत भागिए. Thoughts आते हैं, वो आएंगे और वो चले जाएंगे. Let them pass. But a lot of guidance comes to you in that period, which you may not understand immediately. After a few days or after a few hours, that guidance you will get from somewhere. Maybe from a book, from a session, from a friend. And actually, it is the energy that reaches you in that silence period. So it is about experiencing that higher state of consciousness. So
Okay,
don't
thank
worry about
you.
the negative thoughts.
Yeah, I will try. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Atma Namaste.
Atma Namaste.
Yeah, madam, you're speaking about overcoming weakness of thoughts.
Yes.
So I would just like to, what is the remedy you suggest to overcome the negative thoughts? Repeated, like you said, that people keep on taunting you, you can't do this, can't do this. That's literally goes and sits in your subconscious mind and you're not able to do it. So how to overcome it, I would like to know.
So you want to know how to overcome your tendency to create thoughts about others, or others, how to protect yourself from others' thoughts?
How to protect others from others' thoughts, yeah, because that keeps on keeping in mind, that does not let me grow.
Yeah, so one simple answer is that there is a course of Master Choa Kok Sui, which is called Psychic Self-Defense. This course has an eligibility for psychotherapy, pranic psychotherapy graduates. In that course, the entire course is about how to protect yourself from these negative thoughts from others, different types of negative thoughts. But till the time you have done that course or reached that course, because I do understand that it could take a few months to get there, because it requires 2-3 courses to be done before. There is one thing that I heard from one of our acharyas very, very recently, actually, and I thought it was very beautiful. So he said that, when there is a lot of peace in your aura, and when there is a lot of harmlessness, when you have mastered the virtue of harmlessness, जब हम किसी के बारे में बुरा नहीं सोचते, and there is a lot of peace in our aura, so when other people's negative thoughts come near our aura, the energy of peace and harmlessness in our aura transmutes that energy. And that negative energy that other people send to you is sent back to them as peace. So if we can practice a high degree of peace and harmlessness towards others, our aura will have so much loving energy that it will be able to transmute at least some of the negative thoughts that others are sending towards us. And also, like I said, this is just a personal suggestion that maintain a low profile. Don't flaunt anything too much in front of others, because when we do that, others will send you thoughts and you can't help it, So, I know this is the world of social media, Insta stories, and WhatsApp stories and all, but just keep certain things personal and private so that others cannot interfere with your privacy. But yes, if we have enough peace in our aura, then these thoughts, like Master Hector said, should be able to, the peace in our aura should be able to transmute these negative thoughts. I hope it answers your question at least to some extent.
Yeah, till some extent. But I would like to just turn, because there are some things which are there from the childhood.
Mm-hmm.
How to overcome those tendencies?
Tendencies of other people.
No, like during childhood they taunt you and all those things that keeps on haunting you. That you can. That's the thing.
That is something that requires you to let go, that requires you to forgive, that requires you to heal. You know, that is the healing of the inner child. That is a slightly separate topic. So
Okay.
if you want to heal your past trauma, then what you can do is that in the beginning of every day when you are doing twin heart meditation, just take a second and you pray to God that, let these energies flush out the trauma in my system. Over a period of many days when you're doing the meditation, this energy should reduce in small quantities from your system. And also you can contact Surbhi and Godwin. They can put you through a good healer, or you could learn healing yourself and you could work on releasing or disintegrating or healing that trauma, because this is in the past. So what we control is the present, that trauma, but it can be healed, because even I have had certain traumas from my adulthood and even from my childhood, and to a large extent they have been resolved through pranic healing. So I highly recommend that get in touch with Surbhi. She will put you on to a good healer, and it will help you. Even twin heart meditation will help you if you continue doing it regularly, not just for these 21 days, but at least like thrice a week regularly, and you make it a part of your life. Over a period of time, these energies will start becoming very weak in your system. They will start healing.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Atma Namaste.
Atma Namaste. Anybody else?
Atma Namaste, ma'am.
Atma Namaste. Madhumita ji.
Yeah. I want to just one question. Since I am doing twin hearts in the night, this session regularly, I cannot sleep in the night.
Actually, it could be because of excess energy.
I want to ask Surbhi also, but Surbhi is not available. Yeah, ma'am.
No, I think Madhusmita ji, it's just that energy is too much, maybe at this point of time. आप कोशिश करिए कि आप थोड़ी ज्यादा blessings करें meditation के बाद. If you do more blessings and if you do more grounding after the meditation, and maybe a little more jumping if you can do it after the meditation, that should help you. And the other thing that you can do is that you can increase how much exercise you do on a regular basis. Not just the exercises we do for the meditation, but incorporate any type of physical exercise in your daily routine. Like either 30 minutes of brisk walking, or, any form of exercise that, you are comfortable with. Just try and do like 20 to 30 minutes of physical exercise in a day. That will help you to handle the energies better, and that will also positively impact your health.
Yes, ma'am. I am doing regularly walking. And after this exercise also, I am doing the erratic exercise also to release my energies, because everyone says the energy is more, so you are not sleeping. So I am doing erratic exercise also.
Try keeping your eyes open.
I am now feeling that I will go to office. Just like this, I am feeling now. Now I go to sleep. So I asked today, why I am not?
In the meditation, if the energy is becoming too much for you, you can open your eyes and do the meditation. Don't close your eyes. Open your eyes and then do the meditation, so your upper chakras will not get congested.
Okay. Thank you so much, ma'am. I'll do it since tomorrow. Thank you so much. Good night, ma'am. Atma Namaste, sir. Atma Namaste, ma'am.
And I'm not a ma'am. I am just a student.
Yeah, I know. You are quite small. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Atma Namaste. I just had a quick question. At the beginning, you said there were 4 ways that our thoughts became more powerful.
Yes.
Could you repeat that real quick? 'Cause I didn't get them all down. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so these are just 4 ways out of the many other ways in which your thoughts can become powerful. One of them is by increasing the energy in your aura and in your chakras, and also refining the energy in your auras and chakras. Like if the energy becomes better quality energy and better quantity of energy in you, that is in your auras and in your chakras, it automatically makes your thoughts more powerful. One was that. The second one was that if your thoughts are more clear, sometimes we make confusing thoughts. Like, I'm looking for a new job, but I'm so sick of doing a job. In this same thought, we actually contradicting ourselves. So it's not a very clear thought. So if our thoughts have clarity, they are more powerful. The third one was if our thoughts are repetitive, like any thought that we are repeating over and over again, it tends to manifest or it tends to become more powerful. The size of the thought form in the energy world actually increases. And the fourth one was that if any thought is created in a group, as in if more than one person has the same thought, then that thought has more power than the thought of an individual person. Like if you have a family goal or something, or if you have a community, if all of you want the same thing for the community, then it becomes a very powerful thought against one person wanting something for the community.
Okay.
These are
Can
the
I have
four-
one more question for you? Like
Yeah.
sometimes I'll get stuck, like you were saying, don't have critical thoughts like when you're at an event or send thoughts to people. Like I've caught myself doing that sometimes, and I'll try to do the blue triangle and inner reflection and all that. Do you have any other tips to try to help remove it or to minimize it? Because I don't want to send them out to other people, and I'm trying to, to catch them because I don't want to affect other people with them.
Right. So one way that I heard from one of the disciples of Master Choa Kok Sui was that he used to say that, if you are not able to if you're not able to stop the chain of critical thoughts in your head, start chanting. Like start repeating Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum. And he said after a few minutes, you will realize that that chain of critical thoughts is now broken and you can concentrate on whatever it is that you are doing. So you could just play that or just repeat that for a few minutes in your mind, and maybe that should help, because this is something I heard from a disciple of Master Choa, that Master Choa told him that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Hello, good evening, ma'am.
Good evening.
Ma'am, actually, I would like to ask 2 questions. First is that I am unable to sleep at the night due to negative thoughts.
Okay.
And second question is that can the meditation heal all of my sickness?
I'll answer the second question first. The meditation cannot heal all of your sickness in most cases. You will have to go to a doctor. If you have any sickness, any physical ailment, you should definitely go to a doctor, because that is the first paragraph in Master Choa Kok Sui's books in most cases, that pranic healing or any of the meditations taught by him are no substitute for medical science. So please visit a doctor. Please take the treatment for whatever it is that you are going through with your physical health. And as far as other things, psychological things are concerned, the meditation can reduce the amount of psychological trauma or weaknesses that we have over a period of time. It's not instant. It's if we are consistent with it, then over a period of time, our tendencies are altered, because our heart and crown are activated and our chakras start evolving, then automatically our energy gets refined and some of the psychological weaknesses that we have become weaker. But what works faster is a combination of healing and meditation. So if it is something that you're going through physically or emotionally that is bothering you a lot, you could again contact the Forgiveness Club, and you can either take healings or take the pranic healing course and along with the meditation, so that you can get faster relief. And also please visit a doctor if there is a physical ailment. Your second question about not being able to sleep at night. because of negative thoughts, just play Om Namah Shivaya Om or Om followed by Om Mani Padme Hum in your room. Like maybe say 15 minutes of Om Namah Shivaya Om and 15 minutes of Om Mani Padme Hum for a few days before you sleep. It should help. It should definitely help. Sometimes these negative thoughts accumulate in a particular space, especially in our pillow and in our mattress. And as soon as we hit our head on the pillow before sleeping, all those negative thoughts start coming back to us. So just allow these, your room environment, your pillow, your mattress, and every other object in your room to soak in the energy of Om Namah Shivaya Om and Om Mani Padme Hum. That should help.
Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome.
I have my sister has got cancer and she's much younger than me. So whenever I've done till psychotherapy, whenever I'm healing her, I get very upset. I start crying, although I try my best. And is it okay if one of our own group healers heal her, then I do it myself? But then I feel I'm myself a pranic healer and I'm not being able to do it. So, and I can literally feel her pain, like she in the my own uterus starts paining when I'm doing it for her. She has uterine cancer.
Okay. I think on this question, a few people will have different opinions. I'll just share what I heard from Hemal ma'am, I think. Hemal Shah, she said that it is all right. If it's a family member and if you're
Mm.
very attached to that person, and if you get emotional while healing that person, it is better to give that healing to somebody else.
Oh.
And if you think that you have a karmic obligation towards her, then be the
Yeah.
one to sponsor the healing. Be the one to
Okay.
pay for the healing. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I feel karmic responsibility for her because she's younger and our parents passed away when we were very young. So I feel in every way for whatever she goes through, like a mother to her. So, yeah.
Then you can contribute towards her healings. If not the full payment of her healing, but you can partly contribute towards the healing if you are hiring another healer.
Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I think.
Sorry, yes. First of all, I would like to say that you're the only facilitator who got so many questions. So
I
thank
think
you.
maybe I was hoping to wrap up the session and just get off the camera. That's it.
And I think the divine beings had other plans for you because of the way you're answering questions. There's just two more questions. One that's come on a private message.
Okay.
So I'll ask you this question because this person had messaged quite a while, and I think they're still here in this meeting, right?
Yeah.
The question is how to let go and forgive people who are no more in this world, and we still have some negative memories with them. So how to let go, especially if it's a person, especially if it's a person is a loved one.
If that person is no more, how to forgive and let go of the hurt and pain.
Yes. If there are still some negative memories, and if the person is a loved one.
Yeah. I think I'm not going to state the obvious, that is that try to do the forgiveness, like the forgiveness prayer and all of that, because I'm sure this is the forgiveness club and the member, whoever has asked this question knows that we can do the forgiveness practice, and that definitely you should do. The other thing is that maybe, maybe there is still some karma that is shared between the two people. Some donation for the peace of the person who's passed on, in the name of the person who's passed on, could help release them. Because when this person is released to a higher plane in the inner world, then, you know, it helps you to disconnect with them also. And also, you know, I think what personally helps me to forgive people is that, you know, I try and I sit and I try to evaluate my life. And I, more often than not, you know, the mistake that we are holding on against the other person, the reason why we are angry with that other person, in some different degree, maybe a lesser degree, a similar thing I must have done to somebody else, you know. And as soon as I'm able to locate that thing that, you know, at a varying degree, even I have made similar mistakes, uh, I think that energy of holding that grudge against that person, that bad memory, becomes very weak, you know, because at that moment, I forgive this other person and I forgive myself for the same mistake in whatever small or big degree that I may have made in my life. So just sit and evaluate your life. And when we evaluate our life, we will realize that there are so many mistakes that we make or we have made, even in this incarnation, that has brought about so much pain in the life of other people. And when we realize that, it's a humbling experience. You become so humble that it becomes very simple for you to forgive other people, because you realize that there is, you know, we are all very similar. We're all one, you know, only the degree of mistake can be different. So try, and also the whiteboard technique really helps, you know. So the whiteboard is basically, you just remember, you imagine a whiteboard in front of you, if that person is listening and still online. You put those bad memories onto that whiteboard. Imagine that you have God's duster or divine duster in your hand, and erase that memory from that board. You do that 10 times, and then you replace it with a good memory with that person. I'm sure you would have had at least some good memory with that person. So you do that over and over again for a few days, or you can do it 5 times in one single day and then repeat it for many days, like say maybe 21 days. Just erase those bad memories, project all these bad memories onto this whiteboard, erase this with this divine duster, and then project a happy memory with this person onto the same board. And in 21 days, if you do this, it will take 5 minutes for you to do it daily. But if you do it for 21 days, these memories will become very weak in your mind, and you should be able to forgive more easily.
Thank you so much. And the last question of the day, so you can get your wish of wrapping up.
Yes.
A person in the chat has written, what happens when an elder in the family constantly keeps saying, you're a loser or going to get nowhere in life to another younger family member? How can this person help to change that family member's thoughts? Was I able to explain the question to you?
Yes. So it's not actually, you know, the changes, it's much easier to make the change in you rather than try to change the other person. So if you ask me, how can we change that other person? I mean, of course, there are many ways, you know. There is a karmic interchange of energy. There is past karma. You know, you can, over a period of time, your karma with this person will neutralize. And if you do forgiveness with this person, the negative energy will become weak. All of those things, if you do, this person may improve. But the may is with a capital M. There is no guarantee that this person will improve, you know, because every soul evolves at a different rate. We cannot force any soul to grow up at our pace. We cannot force any soul to suddenly become mature. You know, I tried to change a few people in my life for years. And some people told me that if you do forgiveness every day, this person will listen to everything you say, you know, and that was not true. So that's why I'm telling you, forgiveness will help you to get peace. You will have to learn to make your belief in yourself so strong that you know, that this person's thought will not affect you. Like we said, that you know how to make your thought powerful, right? You know that if you create these positive thoughts for another person, this other person's life will be uplifted. Be that other person. Create these positive powerful thoughts for yourself, for your own life. And there will come a time which will not be too far away, where your positive thought and your positive self-image that you create around yourself will become so strong that no matter what this other person says, it will neither affect you nor anybody around you. Because like Master Choa Koksvi says, that if there is more energy and the quality of energy in your aura and your chakras is bigger, then this teenage guy will be influenced by you more rather than that elder, you know. But it will take time. So as your energy improves, as your positive thought becomes bigger and bigger, don't send negative thoughts towards them. There will come a time where this teenager and that person will see for himself and decide that ये जो हमारे बड़े इनके बारे में गलत बोल रहे हैं ये गलत है, और आपके एक्शंस देख के उनको ऐसा लगेगा कि आप सही हो, और उनको आपके उस शब्दों का उनके ऊपर ज्यादा इम्पैक्ट पड़ेगा. Because you are the person who will have that energy. Your words, your thoughts will have more energy than that other person's thoughts and words, especially if you say the truth. If your thoughts and words are honest, then over a period of time, it will not be hidden. Your honesty and your आपकी अच्छाई लोगों के सामने अपने आप आएगी. So आपको वो दूसरे पर्सन जो भी बोल रहे हैं, कितना भी बोल रहे हैं, उसका ना आप पे असर पड़ेगा ना किसी और पे असर पड़ेगा, और जिन पर पड़ता है उसका भी आप पर असर नहीं पड़ेगा. And you will not be bothered too much with what some of these people have to say. You think people did not criticize Master Choa? Even Master Choa, who was a saint, you know, who did so much for so many people. You have no idea. There are so many people who criticized him or even criticize him today. But the only difference is that the number of people who think good about him are so many that the few people who criticize him do not even make a difference. Okay, Godwin, I think we have answered pretty much everybody's questions. Or are there more?
Yes, you are right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for your patience and thank you for answering everyone's questions.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Good night.